Welcome back in. Hockey season is here and the future is teal. The San Jose Sharks are prepping for a great season. Joining us today, we have the voice of the Sharks, Dan Rusanowsky, and of course, we couldn't do it without Sharkie on the couch. Woohoo! Thanks for being here.
We love having Sharkie here, and in fact,
Yes.
I saw Sharkie born way back in 1991. He actually was born out of a Zamboni at a game at the Cow Palace. So
Oh my gosh.
you can mark this in that S.J. Sharkie was born in San Francisco.
Amazing. We'll put it on the birth certificate. Thank you guys so much for being here. And Dan, we're so excited for this season of the Sharks. You have actually been with the Sharks this whole time, right? Since they've gotten here?
Yeah, October the 4th, 1991 was my
Wow.
first broadcast, which was up at the old Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. And I've seen all the ups and the downs and the ins and the outs of the team over the years. And right now, we're really excited about what's happening with this team. It's taken a little while to get things rebuilt, but I think Mike Greer, the general manager of the team, and we have a new coach, the youngest coach in the NHL,
Wow.
Ryan Warsofsky, I think is going to do an outstanding job. And we got a little bit of a motivational game the other night in a preseason tilt in Vegas. Team was down by a couple of goals and came back and won in regulation with some young kids on the ice that are part of the Sharks' future, being big parts of that game. So
Yeah.
that's a good way to start the season and get into when it counts for real.
Definitely motivating, and it's super exciting. We want to talk about the young talent. The Sharks drafted #1 in the draft, and then #4 also. So a lot of young people coming in. Tell us about them and what we can expect.
Well, this has been part of a teardown that the Sharks have had to go through
Yeah.
since they were getting a little bit older. They needed to restructure their roster and really rebuild the team. And so the last year was a tough year, but they got the #1 overall pick in the draft. His name is Macklin Celebrini. Interesting story. His dad, Rick Celebrini, is the vice president of performance for the Golden State Warriors.
Wow.
He grew up in the parts of the Bay Area. He ended up playing for the junior Sharks for a little bit before going to Boston University. And all he did, he was the youngest player in college hockey last year. And he won the Hobie Baker Award as the best player in college, which is
Wow.
kind of the equivalent of the Heisman Trophy, basically, for college hockey players. And one of his great rivals was Will Smith, who we drafted 4th overall the year
Yes.
before. So Will is also here, and we're very excited about these two guys being a real cornerstone of a nice core group of people in the same age group that I think are going to be a big part of this future for this team. And again, the future is teal, and this is the key to the future. And there are other names, too, people like Luca Cagnoni and Ethan Cardwell and players of that nature. There's another guy with a great name, Shakir Mukhamadullin. That's his
Ooh,
name.
wow.
He's from Russia. He's a young defenseman. I think he's going to be a big part of it, too. But all of this is happening starting this week. Thursday, St. Louis Blues, and Saturday against the Anaheim Ducks. And I think that it's always really great the first opening weekend because you get all the excitement, you get all the enthusiasm, and all that teal walking down Santa Clara Street
Yes.
in San Jose toward the arena.
So we want to talk about opening weekend and what people can expect there. I know there's a lot going on in terms of activities and just excitement in the area. What can people expect this weekend?
Well, the first thing I want to tell people is if you've never been to a Sharks game ever, I envy you. And I've been to almost all of them, basically, except for a couple. And I can say that when you first see a game, it will grab a hold of you and you'll be hooked to the game. It's so exciting. It's a great combination of athleticism, of grace, and also of brawn. It's all of those things together. It's a combination of them all. And I think that's one of the reasons why, because it takes a really intelligent person to kind of grasp all of it, it's one of the reasons why hockey amongst the 4 major sports is A, among the most educated, but B, the largest female audience, almost 40%. So I think that's another important thing that we have fans from all different backgrounds and all different people that come to see the game. But beyond that, I think, if you come to the first game, you will get this.
Yes.
This is really cool. This is a schedule cup that's going to be given out to everybody that's there, so it'll remind you exactly when the games are. And I think that the other factors is if it's your first game, as I said, you can go to the one of the kiosks and tell them it's your first game, and they'll give you "This is my first game" pin.
Oh,
I think that's one of the cool
cool
little things that we're doing this season for a lot of
So
new
fun.
fans. Oh, you want one of those?
I should get a hat. Dan, I was going to tell you that my favorite part about hockey, or at least going to a game in person, is drinking and watching fights, which I feel like that works hockey-wise, right?
40% female audience, I told you.
We're here for the fights. So I was going to ask you, there are some new food and beverage options for people at the arena this year. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we've been doing this for a couple of years now. We call it the Test Kitchen, where we're actually inviting different types of people to bring their wares into the building. And I think that's something unique unique that the Sharks are doing to sort of differentiate SAP Center from the other choices you might have. And then you've got some of the things that, that other sports have done. I used to go to baseball games. You could buy an ice cream in a cap for the Giants or the A's.
Yes.
And we're going to have it where you can buy a beer with a kind of a hockey stick. That's kind of cool. And a few other things like that, and using a hockey helmet instead of a ball cap. So
okay, fun.
those are a little bit different. But I think the test kitchen is really neat because it provides an opportunity to have a real diversity of types of cuisines, and they're all really, really good. That's one of the things that we pride ourselves on.
Yeah, and it looks like we have a diversity of things you can get there too at the arena. So many fun things, and we are so excited for the season. If you want to just quickly show us the rest of the
speaking of
trinkets
diversity,
you brought us.
this is a kind of a lowrider that we put together. It's a 57 Chevy. That's going to be on Saturday when we have our annual Los Tiburones night. And one of the things that we do on the Sharks audio network, where I'm calling the game, we also have a Spanish language portion of the game that we also repeat on the SAP channel of our telecast. So that's for our Hispanic community that's coming in. We're trying to really welcome all different people to the game, to introduce them to the game.
Yeah.
And I think that, as I said at the top, when you come to your first Sharks game, you will fall in love with it. You'll be wearing teal. You'll be walking down West Santa Clara Street toward the building with all of those fans. I don't get to see that because I'm in the building getting ready for a broadcast, but that's one of the really coolest things that happens in downtown San Jose whenever there's a game.
Yes. All right, Dan, thank you so much. This is so exciting. And Sharkie, thank you for being here. We cannot wait to watch the Sharks do awesome
I've known you since the beginning, kid.
In San Jose. Thank you guys so much. Hey, to learn more about the Sharks and this season, you can go to sjsharks.com.